Anyway, hi, I'm Rich. Welcome to the Cribl Global User Group. I know many of these names look familiar, so hi to everybody who's returning, and a handful look kind of new. Be sure to hang out to the end because we may end up handing out, or we will end up handing out some swag for randomly picked attendees. So in any case, do we have any real announcements to do? Is there any?
Just remember CribbleCon's coming, so register. And if you have a talk with us, you'll start to hear around the 20th of this month on approvals.
Perfect, perfect. I know that timing coincides closely with another large conference that's happening at that same general location.
I have no idea what you're talking.
So, I mean, you might be able to like ride share on that stuff. So just pointing it out. In any case, then, I suppose if there's no other news to go about, we could jump straight into our prized talk today, which is Tony, who is sitting actually that way of me, probably a different direction for you, but that's okay. He will definitely make himself known here. Careful, Tony, another one's walking behind you. Oh, sorry.
Yes, random droids
Yes.
and troopers and aliens will be randomly coming through the shot. But let me just
All right. Yeah, you want to go ahead and take it away and
screen share here. Hopefully, I still know how to do this.
should everyone interrupt you for questions or hold them to the end? Or...
Please interrupt me, otherwise I'm just going to drone on for a while.
Great.
All right, everybody see the nice track with the writing on it?
We do.
All right. So hi, Tony. If you guys don't know who I am, active in the community, former Cribl person. Oh, here we can just jump right into it. I have a slide on that. So, yeah, Tony, I'm an IT security architecture for Children's Hospital in Nebraska. I'm a former community manager, system engineer, network engineer, security engineer, all the fun stuff. Best time I had, Radio Shack sales associate. Yes, the 276-1723 is the best SKU for me. If y'all don't know what that is the 555 timer.
Oh,
Most used project or application for my projects that I did while working there. 276 is all the circuits. Yes, I did end up memorizing most of the SKUs in Radio Shack, which made it nice and easy when we were doing inventory, which happened twice a year. And we had to count every last resistor and every last battery button. I am a survivor of the Y2K in the telecom industry. And then I have a few other things. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about doing stuff outside of work, but using the knowledge that we had. So how do I use this? Well, I have 3 active kids. We've been doing lots of stuff, and with that, I've been helping coach a lot of their activities. So currently, I'm the assistant head coach for Lincoln Youth Track. We coach kids from 5 to 18, so grade school, junior high, and high school. And then I'm also the assistant football coach, focusing on defense and linemen. I have the body of a lineman right now, but I was not a lineman, so I've actually had to do a lot of learning. I was focused on defense growing up, but in a different capacity. I was a weak side linebacker, otherwise known as a blitzing linebacker, and I was a rush edge once we started getting into later high school. And I picked up some speed, 90s style football where you just come around the edge and try to crush the quarterback. I've coached a lot of things in my life: wrestling, soccer, all the types of baseball and softball, swimming, diving, flag football, 7-on-7 football. I was a semi-pro ref for football, outdoor football for a little while even. So pretty active in sports. A lot of the refs in the area know who I am because we've got to have conversations on sidelines because I tend to learn all the rules and hold people accountable. So what are we actually going to talk about? So I use data. data has been life. That's how I do stuff. So how do I use the data in football? What are the systems that we use? Same thing with track. We'll go into why it's actually really important to get the data or the kids involved with the data. Shouldn't say kids, athletes involved with the data so that they can understand a lot more than just, medals and ribbons. At home, we'll go over how I lost an argument because of data. A lot of people say it was foolish to attempt this discussion, but we'll go from there. And then we'll go over a past project that got it to where I was talked about by our mayor, our chief of police, and the sergeant in charge of traffic enforcement. So, and some things that I'm looking at coming up. So data's everywhere. We all know that. That's not a shock. So it's the harnessing and using of data that becomes what is special and makes what we do day to day very important to the athletes and our community. We have special skills. We're used to seeing the data, we're used to finding the patterns, normalizing the data so it actually makes sense. So a lot of people just don't have that skill set. And so we can definitely be of value there. We're going to be switching quite a bit between PowerPoint and demo because I hate PowerPoint. I did it all in PowerPoint just in case, I don't know, something really bad happened, but we use a system called Watch Game Film. They're the knockoff cheap version of Huddle. Huddle for one team, they're 700-800, maybe $1,000 for a team for a season. Watch Game Film is free for 10 games. So if you get one season, you have 10 games, great, you can use it then. Otherwise, delete one video to free up one spot, and as long as it's the rolling 10, you're fine. It allows you a quick breakdown of game film. So let me switch over. So here's the interface. You can see, we have our video, and then we have all the plays, and I have to enter in from the clip what quarter it is, if we ODK, offense, defense, kicking is our selectable, special teams, miscellaneous. Is it a run, pass, punt, all the fun. Ooh, they added trick. Last time I checked, they didn't have that. Football season's been a few months. But then we, what's the name of the play? What formation did it come out of? Down, distance, gain, loss, result, the whole works. Which, is great. I can look at the statistics, and they do have some quick statistics that you can do. Type of, plays during the game, quarter, go to advanced, and it kind of breaks it down, but it's not, you can't drill in. So I took it, and it'll let you download as a CSV. Pretty easy to view. This can be done in all your different products. Just happens to be, I started this using Splunk, even though I'm transitioning everything over to Elk. But here we can see I pulled up that game, show me everything. So now we can see all the different formations and plays. Like, of both teams, there was 6 times an I formation, tight right, sweep right was run. So if we kick it into just my team, we can see that it was just my team running that. Sweep right, sweep left. My team is mainly composed of 7th graders, so we're, I think, the second smallest team, so we use a lot of speed plays. So fly patterns, a little trickery with the fullback dive. Nobody does fullbacks anymore. But then we can get down and start breaking it down to see all the plays in total. But I can even go on third down, 5 to 7 yards. This is when we ran stuff. So from here, if I was looking, back at, if we played this team a second time in the playoffs, if it was third between 5 and 7 yards, I could actually pull it up on the iPad and see, most likely they're going to run, we would run sweep right, which is great. We can start getting into that level. You go into high school, you go into college, definitely into the pros, much more sophisticated systems, but for doing this, makes it real easy. My oldest son is actually for coaching high school. He was the person that was entering this in real time, being able to, so they could do, play analysis on the fly. But that's great. But how do we actually do? So we pull up the same game, total of 91 plays, 43 run passes. And here we can start breaking down play types per quarter, start looking at, percentage of first down conversions. Overall, when we got to third down, they're on third down, there was more percentage. But if we, my son happened to be the quarterback, and both teams together had a 46.15 pass percentage. Not great, but if we look at just our team, you can actually see he shot up to a 60%. And here you can then see all our yard averages. So again, we're taking, the data from sports, bringing it into an analytics platform, and being able to really say, this is how effective you were. And like my defense, it's great because I could tell them that team didn't have a first down. So with that, no points. So we reward a shutouts with donuts on Saturday, the warm-up day, the walkthrough day. And a defensive touchdown will get you tacos on Tuesday practice. So that's how I reward my defense is, donuts and tacos. I don't remember what the offense does. They do something with pizza, but I can't remember what they have to have to get pizza one of the days. But it's a great way to reward the kids. But here we start. Last year we started doing film review on Mondays. We'll go all watch this, but being able to show them, here's the results. Has definitely, you can see who actually really likes to understand the game and not just play the game. My son would watch. Well, that's the other thing. We could actually see. I don't remember it is in here, but the actual how many times kids watch the film and who actually watched it, because every player on the team we gave access, and they you would see a lot of the kids not doing it, not watching, but the ones that did, you definitely saw a dramatic improvement of understanding the game, just being able to break things down and be able to show them. Skip that. Next thing, and this has probably been the greatest impact for athletics I've seen, is in the track data. Beforehand, I was talking with a few people and saying, as soon as I started doing the presentation and putting all the slides together, they decided to release an update to their site. So some of my gripes on how things were configured look like they've been fixed, but we'll see. There is still no public API, so a lot of this is just me copying the screen into Excel, but I'll show you. Athletic.net happens to be the central repository for most of the track data. Allows you to see the results near real time. A lot of the meets that we go to actually use black scroll timing. They're based out of Lincoln, Nebraska, so it's what most of us use for the Nebraska meets. We'll do electronic timing where they'll actually use optical sensors to be able to know exactly when which lane crossed, down to the thousandth of a second. And every race, if there's any question, they have video, high-speed video of each race of the finish line. Like I said, no public API, so I can't go in and query. I have to do everything through their website. Another major gripe I had was yearly data only shows your best results. So if you've run 10 races, it's only going to show your best result. So being able to track the analytics becomes a lot more difficult. I have to go meet by meet and pull all the data, which becomes pretty cumbersome. And only if you have a paid account can you see most of the data. Otherwise, it only shows you the top 3 records, I believe, for each event. So this is typically what I see. Nice big table. I can select the indoor, outdoor. My club only does outdoor, the year, and I'm filtering down to Midwest and Nebraska. So we're going to look at the 100-meter dash only in club teams. So here I can see the best of the best in Nebraska for club for 2023. Problem is I can't go down to only my team. I have to see everybody. I can use the highlighter, and if I can highlight, oops, and it works. Just so if I highlight one, it's not doing it now, but it's supposed to put a color over then anytime that you select that team. But as you see, there's 5 pages of each individual run. Now, if I go to an actual person, I can actually see here, all the runs that they did in 2023 in order, which is also another, it's 2023, and here's their placing. Date format obviously is only showing the month, day, because you're already in 2023, so being able to select the year on trying to do any type of scraping was difficult. But this is the only way I can really grab all the data for each person. Now it does give me a yearly ranking for each person. So like my son was #1 on the team for hurdles in both the 100 and 200 and 9th and 10th in the state for club. And then it'll come down to 2022 and kind of give you more details. If I wasn't logged in, it would only show me a couple of these values for each person. Or I can look at, and this is what they just changed, all the data for each person. And what it used to be was a shorter, narrower table. So this person here would have been cut off. This person would have been cut off. So instead, after I pull all the data in here, I can start looking and selecting track year, and the different events. Did some double searching here. So both the finals and the prelims come in just as the 100, but now I can actually search, and I do have everybody in Nebraska, all their data coming in. Question? No, okay. But again, the kids, I show them these numbers, gloss over, they don't care. So what we really had to do was build it into a matrix. So here we can see for my son, last year he only competed in the 100 once, but it was a 1595. And just being able to see this this trend line to show them, you know, that they are progressing down or up, depending if it's a shot or discus, to show them how they're doing. So, you know, I jokingly say, a line graph was never so important to a kid until they start seeing it their own data. So here we can see, you know, they went down. If I go to like his hurdles, had a nice spike here. He actually fell on this event, so we can, you know, let them know that, yeah, you can throw that one away. But beginning of the year, you started at 2114, you ended at 2024. So you almost had a full second off of your time in 100 meters with your hurdles, which is pretty phenomenal to, in a single season, drop your time by a second. Does anybody have questions on this, or see how, you know, thoughts on being able to utilize, you know, the athletic data for teaching kids?
I do think that's very cool. I mean, I feel like making it applicable is really great because, I mean, we all remember school is boring as hell, right? But you make it like something that's about you, then, you know, I feel like you're more likely to pay attention.
Well, and what I've noticed the last couple years was, you know, most meets give you a medal for first, second, third, and then a ribbon for fourth, fifth, sixth. But we go back, you know, my son, his best time last year was 1485. So let's go 100 in the 13 and 14. You know, the mod here is running an 11.6. So they're obviously not in the same category. So, you know, seeing him, let's see, where was he even at? Yeah, he was 46th in the state for the 100. He's not getting a medal, he's not getting a ribbon. So he was pretty discouraged halfway through the year of, you know, I suck. And being able to show him this trending, you know, really let him know that, yeah, you are putting in the work, you are being seen. So it definitely helped boost a few people throughout the season that weren't getting those medals and ribbons. All right. Skip. All right. Now a nice fun one and a little bit of a backstory. We moved into the house that we're currently in, still getting used to things. And a year into it, you know, my wife comes up and goes, you know, can you turn the heat up? I said, it's fine. You know, the thermostat set what we normally have it at. She's like, it's cold. I go, well, I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't feel cold to me. And so back and forth of it's cold, it's not. And look, the thermostat is reading that it's at, you know, that certain number. And finally, I kind of wanted to prove it. So my dad happened to work for Geist, which did monitoring of data centers for their HVAC system. I happen to have a couple of their sensors because they were looking at changing some of the firmware, and I was doing some testing and some help with them. So I had I had one of the main units, which then has two remote sensors. I had those two remote sensors. They collect temperature, humidity, dew point, and airflow. Airflow was one of the big ones that I wanted to make sure to get. So happened to have a couple friends that were in the HVAC system servicing. So I asked them, where should I put the sensors? They said, put one in the main out of the HVAC system and one right before the air filter on the return. So you're going to get the temperature going to the house, and the temperature coming back, and that should tell you kind of what the temperature kind of was in the rooms. So yeah, did that. So I needed to be able to get the data. So a couple talks ago, I talked about using the execute function within Cribl, and I'm using that to do an SNMP get, talking to the UID for the device, and in this one happens to be the internal temperature of the actual device. So I have to pull the internal temperature, internal humidity, dew point, and then the remote humidity, dew point, airflow, and temperature for both sensors. That all gets executed in exec commands, which then throw into the pipeline. They come in pretty raw with, integer colon 734. So for 73.4 degrees. So I'm just doing some stripping of the value divided by 10. So now I get my actual nice value. And a nice lovely temperature graph. This was yesterday when it was really nice out. Our windows are open. You can actually see the airflow, which, where'd that go? Was, I didn't have the airflow in this screenshot. But you can actually see that, it's nice and stable. So what was the temperature flowing out of the unit? What was it coming back? So, it was not really, it just had a radiant temperature of 72, and the rooms are coming back at about 70 degrees. And everything's green for being within spec of what I said is normal for Nebraska. Going back to the story, after putting in all the sensors, all the data, she was right.
Yep, I do that.
It was cold in the house. I'm just a big-bodied person, and it felt fine to me.
You know
But
what?
what was interesting was the HVAC person, when I called them up and said, "Hey, stop on over," he happens to be in the neighborhood. And so the next morning, he just starts the day by coming over and taking my house is, whenever we have issues, our house is the first call or the last call, because it's either when he's leaving his house or coming home. It just works out really nice for him, because then we usually have a few beers or something. And he came over, saw this, and was quite happy, especially with the airflow and the in and out temperatures, that he could easily say, "Oh yeah, that was your heater coil. It's not getting hot," or it's, the blower fan, there's no airflow moving. He was able to, the couple times he's came out, quickly diagnose what it was, and because he had an idea going into it what it looked like. So yeah, just two sensors in one device. Was able to make it really easy. I would like to eventually hook up my the thermometer, thermostat, to be able to say, this is what it's set for, but haven't hooked all that up yet. So now what's a nice fun project, the one that got me
Hey, Tony,
talked about.
I was
Go
just
ahead,
going to
Jim.
comment on the last project before you move on, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would be really cool if you could also do something like wet bulb temperature. My wife and I, we go back and forth as to, especially in the summertime, oh, it's hot, oh, it's not hot. And then, I feel like if you're factoring in the humidity, it's a whole different game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is it's that middle column here. Yeah, of humidity. And now I did start grabbing the outdoor temperature. See if I can remember. What index that is. Open weather. So if you use the app Open Weather, you can actually set it to hold the temperature in your area. So right now, Lincoln,
Somewhere in there.
no clouds, and feels like is 57.78. So that's one of the things that while I was starting to play with, bringing in the thermostat is, what is it outside? What is it inside? What is it supposed to be? So that's why I grabbed this and started playing with this and just life, and I haven't got back to it yet. So
Oh yeah, feels like. There you go. Cool.
yeah, because here's all the outside, the temp, the pressure, humidity, feels like. I mean, as you were saying, the humidity and feels like are definitely the big parts.
All right. So speed and traffic.
So yeah, back to our street. There is a high school 3 blocks to my northeast or northwest, a middle school 3 blocks to my northeast, and an elementary school 2 blocks to my east. So lots of school traffic in the morning. Our street was not designed to be a through street. It's not on the snow route, it's not on the emergency routes, but it is one of the main streets that people have started, have been taking to drop, especially their elementary kids off, or to, from the neighborhood out to the other two schools. I always kind of felt like there was a lot of speed going on, but not didn't have any quantifiable way to do it. We had the the portable sign that kind of said, here's your speed. The police would come out and bring that out every once in a while. But we were kind of put low priority on having an officer up there writing tickets. And so I wanted a way to say, yes, there's a problem. So I found a piece of software called SpeedCam AI. You literally draw the 2 lines, so the green and the red. Green is enter the area, red is exit the area, and I think next screen. It'll actually say, lane 1, lane 2, what's the distance, and what's the speed. So here we can draw like lane 1, the green line, red is the end, yellow is your median point. And it does the calculations based off of, this is how long it took to go from A to B, and is able to do that calculation. So you see the car here, as it was going through, was going 26 miles an hour. So within scope, but some of the some 31, 32, 31, 31, 38, 31, 37, a little bit above 25. So not just being content of me having the data, I wanted to make sure to get it out. I started, oh yeah, here's a car doing 36 miles an hour. I found the distance because the lines on the street are 15 feet apart. So that's what I was using for my basis. So it made it nice and easy for a pretty straight line for me to know how to draw my lines. But I was telling Rich this, I did not document this project very well. I did not keep records. The the police asked me to stop tweeting at them because anytime that there was a car going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, it was sending them a note and tagging them in a tweet. I then pushed it to 10 miles an hour over. So, after they asked me to stop, I said, "Oh, I'll do 10 miles an hour over. That way you guys just know it's pretty egregious." And then they just said, "No, no, 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 you need to stop. This is obviously a bot. That's against the terms of service. You're not allowed to have a bot." Okay, fine. But it did catch the attention to where the Lincoln police started responding and calling people out. So Tom Cassidy at the time was the chief of police. So they tagged him, they tagged the area, and one of the officers that was in charge of the Southeast Police Department. So as you see, it quickly escalated to where this May 16th tweet, that was actually the news, one of the news stations in town. And they came out and did a whole story on there being a speed problem, which then got the mayor. She saw the news broadcast, which then came back down to Tom Cassidy here, who then instructed the sergeant in charge of traffic enforcement to make a visit to my office. So, I was, did physical security at that time with the company I was at. And so someone from the police department coming was not new to talk to me. We had we're a downtown office, so we had quite a bit of homeless population. I was the one that usually worked with them. So I thought maybe something was going on with one of the homeless guys in the area. No, different person than what I'm used to seeing. So we sat down and had a conversation. An hour later, we were done. We had a full whiteboard of me documenting how my system's set up, sample sizing, error rates, viewing angles, the whole works. He sits back and goes, "Damn." And I go, "What?" He goes, "I was sent here to prove that you're a crackpot." And I kind of laughed and I go, "Well, why is that?" He goes, "I'm the math guy for the police department. I also in charge of traffic enforcement." I go, "What do you mean you're the math guy?" Before they had the computers to do all the simulation, he was the person doing all of the accident scene recreation math on paper. So he understood viewing angles and sample sizing and all the fun stuff. So he was sent out to prove I was a crackpot and saw that it was very logical, very thought out. So he actually asked if he could send a couple officers to the house to check out the system. And turns out the system was, I think, an average 0.2 mile an hour off of the LiDAR laser speed guns. So he said, we can actually take what you say, with truth, that these systems are accurate and that your reports are justifiable. Also found out that they won't give you a warning till 5 over, and they usually don't write tickets till 10 over. So in Lincoln, in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, you're probably not getting a ticket until you're doing over 35, which was pretty disheartening to me because I can understand the speed limit was 55 and I was doing 10 over, you give me a ticket. But 25 to do 10, that's a pretty big percentage of the actual speed before you get a ticket. Fast forward 6 months of me sending weekly reports, them coming out a couple times, wrote tickets. You could actually see in the data that for about 3 days after they would come out, do a speed enforcement, that behavior would change. And then about day 3, everything was back to normal. So the learning curve for people was 3 days. And then they were back to their old habits, which is kind of why The project went away for the last few years, just because I didn't feel like maintaining it. The company that made SpeedCam AI has gone out of business since then, so unable to download or reinstall it. So a lot of things went into it, but it was a great learning opportunity. Met a lot of people through it. Met people throughout the U.S. or talked to people throughout the U.S. that wanted to do similar things. So it was a great way to help people in the community say, no, it's not just people are speeding all the time. It's people are speeding eastbound from 7:15 to 7:30 a.m. on this street. So it's not just, the police have to randomly show up. You can give them very specifics, and they can actually get to work. If you want to see the talk, it's up on YouTube. That's the only way I really have screenshots anymore of what I was providing. So how many cars were eastbound, how many cars were westbound, or total eastbound, westbound, and then what was the highest mile an hour it saw on the street, what was the lowest, what was the mean, and then what they wanted to know about was the 85th percentile. So the 85th percentile of our street was 31.2. So well above what the speed limit should be for your 85th percentile.
So what you're
Future
saying is-
projects. Yep.
So what you're saying is you're a snitch.
Yeah. But I have the receipts.
Nice.
The issue was on our street alone, I think there's 20, just our block, there's 22 houses, and 60% of them had children under 10. And they were used to running driveway to driveway. And quite a few times we heard, tires lock up where
Yeah, that's
because of a
awful.
ball ran out in the street or something.
All right.
So what am I looking to do for in the future? I'd like to revisit this. It's been a few years. Obviously, that company's out of business now. So I've been looking at OpenCV. There's a project that uses the Raspberry Pi to be able to do speed calculations. I've tried. I can't get it configured. It's actually in my Docker right now. I just can't get it, to be as predictable, both east and westbound traffic. So if there's anybody better with OpenCV, love to talk with you. Also just added an Octoprint to my 3D printer. So I need to start getting those data points in also to grab like the temperature, the print speed, how effective things are, all the fun data you can get from your 3D printer. So that's it.
Yay. That was cool. All kinds of neat stuff in there.
Nice, Chris. I'll hit you up.
Do we have a link to your 2018 talk? Are we going to provide that real quick?
Yeah, that's in the slide deck.
Yep. I can paste that over here in a bit.
Oh, you're sideways.
All righty. Cool. Well, thanks, Tony. That was great. Does anybody have any final questions for him or any comments? Otherwise, we can get to our closing bits and pieces. And I think at this point, if there's nothing else for anybody to discuss, do know that anybody who would like to present, even if it's a short thing for, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, silly things I've done with Cribl. Or if it's longer, in a full piece at 25, 30, 45 minutes, let us know. The same bat channel, same bat planning place, the user group planning. And we can also help a little bit with, coming up with a PDF, at least a cover page and stuff. So, doesn't have to be too awfully polished. Tony just does a great job of polishing his. In any case, otherwise, I guess we can all say goodbye and I'll give you back 10 minutes of your day. Oh, yeah, good point. The next meeting is it April 8th? April 8th, 9th? Let me see, Tuesday, 9th, April 9th.
April 8th is kind of a big deal.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I may actually have difficulty hosting that time because I have money family who live in the zone of totality, and the 9th we will probably be driving back from visiting them.
I was going to say,
I
because
got
I'm
you.
traveling back that day as well, it might behoove us to move that, just due to that event.
Yeah, possibly. I think we'll have to take that one offline and discuss what we can do about that. Look, my lovely wife is here too. Just saw you on. So, all right then. I'll let you all have your 10 minutes back. Watch for an update on the date of the next meeting just in case, but we'll see what happens there. Thanks and so long.
Thanks all.